I realized someone was living in my attic when I found a half-eaten sandwich on my kitchen counter that I definitely hadn't made. I live in a drafty, two-story house that I've been renovating for the last 6 months. It's an old Victorian, the kind that creaks and groans in the wind. So I was used to strange noises. For weeks, I've been waking up to things being slightly moved. A chair pulled out from the table, a cupboard left ajar, or the faint smell of stale cigarettes in the hallway. I told myself it was just the house settling or my own forgetfulness. I was working long shifts at the hospital, and I was perpetually exhausted. I chalked it up to stress. That changed when I started finding the Polaroids. I'd find them tucked into random places: the bathroom mirror, the inside of my bedside lamp, the pantry shelf. They were all blurry, low-light shots of me sleeping in my bed. My chest tightened, the air suddenly feeling thin and cold. I spent 3 days straight checking every lock and window, convinced someone was breaking in, but nothing was ever forced. My security cameras showed nothing but empty rooms and shadows. The breaking point was last Tuesday. I was working from home, buried in paperwork, when I heard a distinct thud coming from directly above my head. It wasn't the house settling. It sounded like a heavy boot hitting the floorboards of the attic. I didn't run. I don't know why, but I grabbed the heavy flashlight from my desk and slowly walked to the hallway. Looking up at the attic pulled downstairs, the latch was slightly loose. My heart was hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. I reached up, grabbed the cord, and pulled. The stairs unfolded with a screech that sounded like a scream. I climbed up, the flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, expecting to find a squatter or a burglar. I swept the light across the dusty space, but the attic was empty, or at least it looked that way. I walked toward the back, and my light hit a small, makeshift living space tucked behind a stack of insulation. There was a thin mattress, a pile of clothes, and hundreds of photos of me pinned to the rafters. But it was the last thing I saw that made me drop the light. It wasn't just photos. It was my own birth certificate, my car keys, and a mirror with the glass carefully cut out in the shape of a human face. I scrambled down the ladder, terrified, and sprinted for the front door, desperate to call the police from outside. I grabbed my phone, but my hands were shaking so hard I dropped it. As I bent down to pick it up, the screen lit up with a notification from my home security app. It was a live feed of the front door I was currently standing in front of. But in the video, I saw myself, the real me, walking into the house 2 minutes ago, while I stood frozen in the hallway, watching myself walk past me like a ghost. I realized then that I wasn't the one who had been living in the attic. I was the one who had been kicked out of my